I'd like to just start by saying it's a big honor to be here. It's an honor to give the words of thankfulness, words of acknowledgement on the completed life of a very beautiful person, our beloved Barbara Schafer. And my being here is a substitute duty because Rabbi Joel Chazen, the Rabbi Montefiore, emeritus, was going to be officiating, and he had many years of connection to Barbara. And unfortunately, because of health reasons, he couldn't be here. So again, it's my honor to be here. And I would start by saying that these young men over here, Barbara's sons, are such friendly guys, such lovely people. And so I can already feel like I'm here as the rabbi to represent Barbara and to talk about her life. But like many of you in the audience, I feel like a friend to these guys who are such good, open, lovely people. So we're going to start with a selection from the Psalms. We're going to say the familiar 23rd Psalm. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai roi lo iksar, binai steshech yarbitzeni, al mei menuchos yinachaleni. Nafshi eshovev yancheni v'maglei tzedek leman shemo, gam ki elech begeitz hamavis, lo yirara ki ata imadi. Shiftecha o mishantecha, hema yenachamuni. Tairach lefanai shulchan, neged soirai, dishanta v'shemen roshi, kosi ravaya, ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni, kol yemei chayai, v'shavti v'beit Adonai, le'orach yamim. Feel free to read along with me, if you wish. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in right paths for his name's sake. Though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff comfort me. Thou hast set before me a table in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It's also our custom to recite what is called the Eshet Chayil, which is the woman of valor. It's a selection from Mishlei, or the Proverbs, and it follows the order of the alphabet and lists the many beautiful qualities that a special woman has. And it's a custom for many households on Friday nights to sing this to the mother, to sing this to the mother of the family, and acknowledge of all her greatness. Eshet chayil miyimsa virachok mipni nihim michra batach balev bala vishalo lo yeksar gamal sutoi veloira kol yemei chayecha darshat zemer ufishtim vitas bechapetz kapecha haisa kaniyoi seicher mi merchak tavi lachma vitakam biyoi laila Bititin teref lavesa chak narosecha zamama sadevatika chechu mi pricha pechanatu karem chagra beoz masnecha betame zoyasecha tama kitayv sachra lo yechba balayla neira yadecha shilcha v'kishor v'kapecha samchu fale kappa parsa liani beyadecha shilcha le'evyan l'sira mi beisa mishaleg Ki kol beisa levushanim, marvadi masazala, sheish vargaman levusha, noda bisharim bala, beshifto ihim ziknei ared sadim masazavatim kor, vechagronatnu knani, oz vahadar levusha, bitischak leyoim acharoin, picha pascha behachma, Besairas chesed al lishaina Sophia halicha is beisa belechem latzus lo sochel kamu vanecha veshura bala vaye hala rabos banos hasochayil viatalis al kulana sheker achein vehevel ayofi isha yiras adonai he sees halel tenula Mi priyadecha vi hallelujah bisharim masecha. An accomplished woman who can find far beyond pearls is her value. Her husband's heart relies on her, and he shall lack no fortune. She repays his good, but never his harms, all the days of her life. She seeks out wool and linen, and her hands work willingly. She is like a merchant ship, from afar she brings sustenance. She rises while it is nighttime and gives food to her household. She envisions a field and buys it. From the fruit of her handiwork she plants a vineyard. With strength she girds her loins and invigorates her arms. Her hands she stretches out to the distaff, and her palms support the spindle. She fears not snow, for her household is clothed in scarlet wool. She makes a cloak to sell and delivers a belt to the peddler. Strength and majesty are her raiment. She joyfully awaits the last day. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and a lesson of kindness is on her tongue. She anticipates the ways of her household and partakes not of the bread of laziness. Her children arise and praise her. Her husband lauds her. Many daughters have amassed achievement, but you have surpassed them all. False is grace and vain is beauty. A God-fearing woman, she should be praised. Give her the fruits of her hand, and let her be praised in the gates by her very own deeds. I wanted to share with you a few things about Barbara Ray Schafer's life. Things that not only are biographical, that teach us about what she did, what she went through her life, but things that are truly inspirational. When we learn about her life, when we see what she did, we see her self-sacrifice, we see her kindness, we see her intelligence, it really should inspire us to be better and greater and to do more for the people around us. And telling her story is not difficult, even for a person like myself who didn't know her so well, because she really, really has tremendous fans over there in the next room. You know, speaking to her boys and, asking them if they have a story, if they have any information about Mom, it's a very easy task. They're truly overflowing with very, very good memories. And especially Glenn, if I may put him a bit on the spot, he's your family historian. He will not only tell you all the details of the story, all the emotions, but all the facts. When it happened, where it happened, and confirmation of all the details. So I'm going to share with you some beautiful things, and again, thanks goes to her lovely family, who are our best advocates. Our Barbara Ray Schafer, she was born in Cleveland, in the Kinsman neighborhood, and the family moved to Shaker Heights, living on Stower Road, a little bit off of Lee Road. And towards her high school year, they made yet another move to University Heights. She was able to stay in Shaker Heights High and graduate there as a senior, despite the family move to University Heights in the last year. And this move occurred because this was a family who took care of family. And when the grandfather became ill, the family all moved in together to live in a duplex in University Heights on Warrensville Center Road. In fact, Mr. Kirk Berkowitz, who is the funeral director for this service today, his family lived upstairs in this duplex because the grandparents knew each other and were all connected. And they were two families who stayed close, and Barbara was in fact the babysitter for Mr. Berkowitz, who is officiating on this service. She was a lady who did a lot of things. She kept busy, that's for sure. When she was in high school, she played basketball, and she certainly was gifted with height, and she was gifted with a pretty good basketball ability. When high school came and it ended, she was keen to get married, keen to move on with her life and to build her family. And so at the age of 20 years old, she was able to marry very quickly. And in her case, the marriage plan was a little bit of serendipity, to say the least. Her family decided that she had worked hard in high school and she was due for a reward. So herself and a friend, they got to spend some time in the Catskills. They went to one of the famous Jewish resorts, the hotels in the Catskills. And it just so happened there was a gentleman there who was vacationing also, and he was with his family, except he was from Brooklyn, and it was a match to be made. They really were a beautiful match with one another, and it didn't take long. They wrote letters to one another. They stayed in touch. He came for a visit, and she persuaded him. She said, "You can marry me, but I think you're best off if you stay in Cleveland." And that's how the boy from Brooklyn and the girl from Cleveland, started this beautiful family. And Barbara Schneiderman became, of course, Barbara Schafer. She was very focused on her opportunity, on her duty as a stay-at-home mother. She was very happy to take care of the house and make it beautiful, make sure everything was there for her family as it grew. And she cheerfully welcomed Glenn, the oldest in the family, Stephen, Mark, and Kevin. And she was home every day for these guys for lunch. She was one of those moms that made sure that they were very well fed and they were always taken care of. And it wasn't until the last of them basically was in school for a full day that she decided that she could go back to work. But before then, she was always there for them. And even then, when she started to work, she was a clerk, she took small jobs. The focus was always on the family. And whatever job she had, she was always home before 3:30 to make sure that her kids could come home to a house that wasn't empty. As much as she was a very loving and caring mother, she had her rules. But her rules weren't about mom's in charge and I'll tell you what to do. They were about, we're all in this together, and if you live here, you must contribute. That was a very simple rule and couldn't argue with it, right? If you lived in her house, why shouldn't you cut the grass? Why shouldn't you shovel the snow? Why shouldn't you take part in opportunities? And in fact, that Glenn, the way he told the story, I think it was about Kevin, that he remembered the image of little Kevin covered up and bundled up in every sort of winter garments, making sure, and he was barely, a few years old, and there he was on the steps shoveling away the snow. Because, hey, if you're part of the Schafer family, you got to do your part. You got to do your job. And that's how she raised them. And you can see by the kids today that these guys are hardworking, fine citizens, thanks to this approach. But the thing about Barbara was that she wasn't just a great mom to these guys. She shared her beautiful momness with the neighborhood. She was the mom of the neighborhood, that kids would come from all over and just hang out at the Schafer home. And not only did they hang out, but the fridge was wide open. She wanted to make it very clear that if you were hungry, you didn't have to ask her for something. You didn't have to ask her to cook up something, or you didn't have to bring something from home. You went straight to the fridge and you helped yourself. That was the only way that she would have wanted it. She was a pretty good cook, but it sounds like she liked to make desserts more than she used to like the main course. And so the boys keep on talking about the coconut bars, which makes me think they're a little hungry. So if anyone knows how to make good coconut bars, we can send them their way. And so she was very active in PTA, as you would imagine. She was always the mother who was the room mother and always the one helping out if the school needed something. If there was a holiday party and at the last minute they were missing something important, someone forgot to go out and buy the punch or the candy, she would be the one that they would call up and say, hey, can you go get us that? We need this for the school. And in fact, it worked out very nicely that such an open house was right near the school. They were basically across the street. And so if you were a kid in school and your parents worked or you lived kind of far away, you would just walk into the Schafer home and get a hot coffee, get some warm food, whenever you wanted, no question asked. They took good care of not only the students, but they took care of the teachers too. Barbara was a den mother. She knew all the Cub Scout stuff, and she knew how that goes. They always used to have the pack meetings at our house. They used to always do class trips with Kevin's class and other things. And the house was not only a place for kids to hang out, but it was a great hangout for adults too. Mom was into being social. She was the social butterfly of the neighborhood. She was always connecting people and bringing people in and having things happening. She loved her mahjong group, and that would come to the house twice a week. And the kids were saying they just remembered her at these Maj games, just how she would just be so happy hosting people and feeding people, entertaining people. It was really, really something so joyful for her. And she was the kind of person who had not only responsibilities socially, but she felt that she had responsibilities to different organizations. And she taught the kids the value of tzedakah, the value of charity, because the kids described how they remembered her, that she would go from door to door with her little charity box, her pushka, trying to collect for different organizations. And in particular, she collected for March of Dimes. And the kids said that whenever they would grow out of their clothes, there was no thought that it would just be thrown away or whatever. It had to be given to someone who was needy. It had to belong in the right place. And so she was always very meticulous that it would end up with Easter seals or Purple Hearts, that there was always people out there who needed the stuff much more than we did. When it came to the synagogue, she also was a very big contributor, a very important person, gave much respect to the synagogue and its role in their lives. When Kevin was having his bar mitzvah, she was the treasurer for the bar mitzvah, and that meant that she would write the checks for the caterers, she would arrange the kiddush, she would get everything together for the kiddush so other families wouldn't have to have the trouble of arranging the kiddush and the special events when it was their simcha, when it was their joyous occasion. And one of the cool things, one of the amazing things that the kids told me about was that there was a concept in those days called the helping hands, which was something where you would take a hand and you would put it on your window, and that would be a sign or a symbol that if you were a kid and you were walking home on a cold day and it was suddenly a blizzard, or you were sick or you needed something, it was an emergency, if that house had a helping hand on the window, you knew you could just walk in and be taken care of, no questions asked. And so she obviously was a very proud helping hand home. And we can imagine already through this life that she had and all the good things she did, that you have to have a pretty good personality to be able to do all the social stuff. And that she did. She had a very large personality. She was very outgoing, and she was very into getting to know people. She would come to people who were totally strangers and start a conversation and figure out what was really important to them in a short amount of time. And it was kind of a good match because she was the big talker and Dad was the quiet one, and they certainly complemented each other very nicely. And just the way that her boys are and the way that they respect her, I can only imagine that she had a lot of joy in giving, but she had a lot of joy in receiving. That she certainly got a lot of nachas and a lot of joy from these guys and from her husband in her life. And, thank goodness for all the self-sacrifices she made, she also was made to feel very loved and very respected. And in particular, I got to see this firsthand with Glenn. Anyone who works at Montefiore, Glenn is a regular person at Montefiore. Almost on a daily basis, you would see Glenn. He would come in and just take care of Mom and make sure that all of her needs were met. And so in the later part of her life, it wasn't easy. She lost her husband, and it was a big adjustment from being a person who did everything for people and was always working and busy to a person who wasn't able to. But at the same time, she really used her personality of being strong to make the most of it. So when she came to Montefiore, at first, it wasn't easy, but she was always the one doing stuff. She went to every event, every concert, every service, participated in every bingo, and she really was very pleased, with the life that she had, and she really appreciated what it was. And the simple things meant a lot to her. When Glenn would take her out to the back atrium, and even though it was a little bit cold, she loved to be outside. She would really appreciate that a lot. And it would mean a lot to her when Glenn would bring her corned beef sandwiches or her Chinese food, which he didn't love so much, and the two of them would eat together and enjoy each other's company. But as much as she didn't, I guess, she expected things from her kids. But one of her big demands was grandchildren. She made it very clear from an early age she wanted grandchildren. And so, even though we want to provide grandchildren, it doesn't always work out for everybody. But she was really delighted when she did indeed receive her grandchildren. She received, a gift of 4 beautiful grandchildren. And in particular, she had a chance to watch the little ones really to grow up. And sometimes, we talk about Skype, and, I've had many older people who have relatives who live out of town, and we do the Skype. And it just doesn't go so well with the Skype, It's not the same, being on a video connection with a computer. And it's hard for kids to kind of understand what you're supposed to do in the camera. Grandma wants you to perform and you just want to be a kid. But it somehow worked out so well, with her grandchildren in Raleigh, that she would just delight to see them playing. And they didn't even have to talk to Grandma through the Skype. Just to see them being themselves and playing and having a good time made her so happy. So she really loved her Liberty and Everett, and the little ones, Dessa and Tali, a great deal. So just to summarize, we definitely described how she was a lady who loved her family, and she really gave it her all, a very social lady who loved people. And like I said, she was always welcomed, warmed by her boys, who would always come and visit her and always make her feel good. And she was always warmed by the people of this world. As much as she was outgoing, she always seemed to be, people who seemed to be reciprocating, responding. Her love was always responded by people's love and friendship. And that was a real blessing that she had in this world. And so I think that, like I was saying in the beginning, there's a lot we can learn from her. And I think just sometimes just being caring and loving and opening yourself up to all kinds of people, makes them very happy, but makes you also very happy, makes you in turn very fulfilled and very satisfied. So we all pray together that her memory should be for a blessing, that she should continue to watch over her beloved husband who's in heaven, and watch over her children and her grandchildren, and that they should always continue to give her simcha and nachas and good things, And we pledge to her that we will keep on remembering her, and we'll keep thinking of her, and we are abundantly appreciative for her kindness. The kindness and the self-sacrifice of a mother is without words, and we thank her for everything that she did for all of us, whether we were her actual children or whether she treated us like we were her children. So, Zichrono Labracha, her memory should always be for a blessing. In just a moment, we're gonna rise and we're gonna sing together the memorial prayer, and we will recite Kaddish together in this chapel before we go. But before we do so, just a few little housekeeping details. That we're going to be following in a procession for the interment, which will take place at the Mount Olive Cemetery. And then following the burial in Mount Olive Cemetery, we're going to go back to Matafir for the Shiva gathering. And that's going to be today from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And it's going to take place in the rear of Matafir, not in the front, but in the back. In the back, there's a place called the Maltz Hospice House, which has a nice meeting room, boardroom, and that's where the Shiva is going to take place. So you could park in the front of Montefiore in the big parking lot, but you have to walk quite a bit through the building to get to the rear, or you could simply drive around 180 degrees from the front entrance. The very back of Montefiore, there's a separate entrance, Maltz Hospice House, and that will get you right to where the Shiva is located. If you would like to give a donation in her honor, you're not expected to, but if you wanted to, you could do so to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, the Northern Ohio chapter, Attention Team in Training. And we look to the family. We look to her sons Glenn and Mark and Stephen and Kevin. We look to her grandchildren Liberty, Everett, Dessa, and Tali. To her daughters-in-law, we look to them and we offer them our condolences and our sympathies, and pray that they should be strong and get through this without too much pain or difficulty. So at this moment, we're going to please rise, and we're going to say the memorial prayer, and we're going to continue to stay rise, as we recite the Kaddish together. El Malei Rachamim, Sheichein Bamromim, Hamsei Menucha Nechayna, Al Kanfei Hashchina, B'malos Kedoshim Utohirim, Kezerakia Mazhirim, Es Nishmas, Basha Bas Martin Ufreda, Shahalacha Leolama, Bavor Shanachnu Mispalin Bahad Haskras Nishmasa, Began Eden Tehei Menuchasa, Lachein Bal Harachamim, Yastirecha Besesa Kanafav Leolamim, Beyitzur Betzorachayim Es Nishmasa, Adonaihu Nachalasa, Besanoach Al Mishkava Beshalom, Benomar, Amen. O God, full of mercy, who dwells on high, grant proper rest on the wings of the divine presence, in the lofty levels of the holy and the pure ones who shine like the glow of the firmament. For the soul of our most beloved Barbara Schafer, Basha, the daughter of Martin and Frida, who has gone into his world and for whom we pray. May her resting place be in the Garden of Eden, and may the Master of Mercy shelter her in the shelter of his wings for all eternity. And may he bind her soul in the bond of life. God is her heritage, and may she repose in peace on her resting place. And we say together, Amen. So we just remain standing for a moment as we recite the Kaddish.